What's up, Will? Welcome back. Where are we, buddy?
We are in Spartanburg, South Carolina for a USA Crits day of Speed Week. Big race.
And you're going to win from the gun 55 kilometers solo with 1,300 watts.
Hey, after Athens, I'm starting to believe there's a chance for everything.
I'm starting to believe, period. I'm starting to believe. Dude, I have gotten so many comments. So in case you guys missed it, Will absolutely crushed at Athens, lapped the field, got beat by Clever. These things happen. I've been beat by Clever as well. But getting second at one of the nation's biggest crits, this is another, I would say, easily top 5 crits on the calendar. Spartanburg. Now, this is one of those crits that, I'm not going to call it technical, but it's narrow for a little bit. And as a result, it causes a bunch of crashes, which we're seeing in the bottom right now. This is from last year?
This is last year's race, which 2 crashes in the last 2 laps that just took out the whole field. Wild.
And this is like all the fast people are here, right? Because this is USA Crits, and it's averages over 30 miles an hour, right?
Right. Yeah, it's just a super fast, like 4-corner, pure American NASCAR style left turn crit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's average about 50 kilometers an hour for everybody else in the world.
Yeah, right.
But because you experienced this wild last couple laps, video's up on your channel, by the way. We'll link it down in the description. You're like, I don't want to mess with the scrum. Looks like you want to stay in the top 5, ideally off the front like you did at Athens.
Oh, yeah. That would be an ideal situation. But honestly, 32 miles an hour on my own is not something I'm capable of on this course. Although, you're going to see me trying, like right now.
I thought you believed, dude. Come on. I kid.
I'm going to need some help.
Let's fast forward a little bit. It's dark. By the way, we forgot to mention, this is a twilight crit. In fact, it's not even a twilight crit. It's like a nighttime crit. And you can see there's a group off the front. Not on your watch, Will. You're going to jump across to this one, huh?
Yeah, I'm hoping to bridge to something that looks promising, and looks like right now I've decided this particular little move looked promising. You see the foundation guy, team in the red there, start to sit up, and also the Skyline team, I think, have someone represented in this breakaway. So I know that there are enough guys up here to keep it fast, and enough guys in the field that aren't willing to chase, that maybe it'll work out. See what I can do here through these last few corners, and maybe get up to a breakaway that might work.
And that's the math we're always doing as bike racers, is like, you don't have to chase every break. You're selective. You look at what's the composition of the break, what's the composition of the chasing field, what are people's motivations, and that's when you have to make a decision to use an effort, because you only have so many efforts, right? You just used one, you brought it back, but that was a very threatening move that was off the front that you had to respond to. And I guess now's a good time as any to talk about today's video sponsor, Insta360, their new X5, which actually does really well in these low light situations. It is actually probably perfect for this type of race, because just like the X4, it is a 360 8K action camera, but it has a larger sensor. It has these new processing chips, which make it a lot better in these low light situations. But more than that, my favorite part is the new editing workflow. So this was my big gripe with the X4, if you guys missed that video. Editing this footage is so difficult, but they've made the process so much easier now. And I've found some shortcuts. I'm going to share those. That's for a whole separate video. But if you guys are curious on how to turn 360 footage into something that looks like this with speed, power, heart rate gauges, that video is coming. But for now, be sure to click the link in the description, where you'll also get a free replacement lens kit, because that's a new thing with the X5 as well. So thanks again to Insta360 for sponsoring this video. Now back to the race. And now here's a good opportunity right here in just a second. But first, man, ripping inside line. Look at this. You just made up like 20 wheels. And Fetzer goes in front of you. But you got a teammate up there who you can hear. You're yelling at him. What are you saying to your teammate?
Yeah. Well, he's being pretty aggressive, which is good. Like, I love racing with aggressive teammates. But right now, he's got the series leader on his wheel. And I can't have that getting away. Not with the help of a teammate.
Exactly right. As somebody who's second overall, like, you can't let the first overall, because this is also part of Speed Week. USA Crits is confusing. Just all you have to know is that is a guy you cannot let get away, and that is a guy your teammate cannot work with off the front. So you let him know, and then he shut it down. There's your teammate coming back with said
with Fetzer.
With said first place in the Omnium. So that's just good teamwork. But it doesn't always teamwork doesn't always go the way you want it to. And this, you guys never. You hate to see it. Unless you're you, Will. You love to see it here when
Yeah.
a teammate's chasing a teammate.
Cadence Skyline. Yeah, they're a great team. I mean, Fetzer and Burgoyne are both on this team. They're the two, like, best racers, I would argue, in this field right now. And it's kind of hard sometimes. Like, you want to pull stuff back, and you want to use your team. But if I were this Cadence Skyline rider right here, I'd probably just let that wheel go. And, like, it's probably on me behind him to chase it back, you know? Just let somebody else do the work there.
Oh, but at least they send a teammate, right? That's who that was.
Yeah, they got it fast enough to bridge a teammate up. There's a little breakaway off the front right now, and he went fast. Burgoyne did there. So,
but even amazingly skilled bike racers get it wrong sometimes. Is kind of the point. We're not trying to dunk on them or anything like that. They're the overall series leader. They're doing something right, but just little things that we noticed that would make them even more dominant if they got right. And that move does end up getting pulled back. And your timing here, Will, I got to compliment you on the timing here, because when there's slowing riders who are being caught off the front, like there is right now, and there are tired riders who are doing the chasing, who you've already passed, you have this big mass of slowing tired riders on the front. Perfect time to launch a counterattack. And yeah, you're making a lot of power. Like you have to also make a lot of power, but you didn't have to do 1,300 watts and do this big sprint-like effort to get a gap. That's the whole idea of timing it that way, is you can get that gap without going absolutely deep into the red, and now you have a gap. The problem is you're solo. This is kind of what you wanted, but not solo, I imagine.
Right. It would have been nice to have somebody up here with me. I mean, I stayed away for a few laps here, and, you know, I figured out some good lines right there, rolling smooth, maybe doing like a little less power than some people in the group if it was getting real punchy. But yeah, I'm not gonna be able to stick 32 miles an hour like the field's gonna be able to stick, I would say.
Right. If you had somebody with you, though, I mean, it could be like Athens 2.0, right? This is what you did at Athens, and you did it much earlier in the race, but you had somebody with you, and you guys ended up lapping. We know how that race went. So I don't knock you for trying. I think you get choice lines through these corners, but yeah, I think it's a tall ask. 16 kilometers, averaging 30 miles an hour is going to be pretty rough. And so, yeah, you get pulled back a few kilometers later, but now we see green jersey over here. Who's that?
That is Michael Garrison, and he is a diesel train.
And he's about to show what he's capable of, because we are now inside of 9 kilometers to go. There is still quite a bit of racing left. That's probably 8 or 9 laps.
Yeah.
But he's like, I don't care. Now watch him just go in a second here. I think that was the last we saw of the green jersey. Oh, maybe. Oh, there he goes.
Yep.
And what's wild to me is you just hit 1,000 watts for a second. You guys are 33, 34 miles an hour, and he's getting 35 miles an hour. He's getting away from you. Like, that is mind-blowing, the amount of power this guy's capable of. What'd you tell me he was able to do for the last 10 minutes of this race?
Yeah, I heard somebody say he did like close to 480 for the last 10 minutes, which is a lot of power. That's a lot of power. That'll do it.
So much. And he's not a small little climber guy, but he's like our size, maybe a little bit heavier. I don't know. He's doing this in an aero position, going 32 miles an hour on average. It's absolutely crazy that people are able to do that. Like, I'm always impressed. There's always somebody faster who can make more power than us, and Michael's one of them, right? Like, that's the last we'll see. Spoiler, he goes on to win solo. He joins up with one other rider, quickly makes short work of the one other rider up the road. Then it's just down to organizing for the field sprint. Let's see how that shakes out. All right, now it's crunch time, Will. Inside of 5 kilometers to go. We have a full train on the front. Which team is that?
That is the bikers team, BKRS. They've got a big squad, and they've got some strong sprinters up there. They're gonna try and line it out. That's for sure.
Yeah, and at this point, when I watched this footage, I was like, "There's no way Michael's gonna stay away from like this full train of riders." He did. he did exactly that, which is pretty wild. We also had Legion, but they didn't have their full squad, did they?
No, they had like 3 or 4 guys, and they're not really going to push it to the front and do a train race like would be normal Legion fashion. Instead, you're going to see a little more of this floating right behind, and you can see them there with the yellow wheels. They're just trying to stay right in front of the wash machine, but the wash machine hits really hard on this course, especially when you got solo guys like me trying to ride it.
Yeah, good move on the outside there, by the way. Everyone's fighting for this position that Will's in right now, by the way. This is the position everyone wants to be. There's Legion trying to occupy that space with a few of their riders. I think you said 4. But once a team takes the front, in this case Bikers, it's really hard. I mean, Fetzer's going to try here on the right, but this is just kind of attacking into the abyss because it's really hard, unless you're somebody who can make 480 watts for the last 12 minutes. It's really hard to get away from. It's a 5 versus 1 situation. It's as difficult as it sounds, and that's why everyone's fighting for the end of that lead out. Once a team takes command, this is like Legion of 3 years ago, right? Legion used to be this team that would just control the front. Now they just don't quite have the same amount of firepower. In this specific case, they just don't have the same number of riders, so they're kind of playing second fiddle. And when you're the team that takes control, you dictate the speed. That's the good news, right? Is you can dictate the speed. Now we're going to find out that Bikers get it a little bit wrong here, and well, I won't spoil it. There's going to be something interesting at the end of this race that we're going to show you guys here in just about 3 minutes' time. But you are still in this battle for the end of the Bikers train. Did you feel like, I mean, your idea here is to try to get points for the Speed Week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, the lap before, we didn't really mention it, but my bike hit a bump and my derailleur went into crash mode. So right now I'm in my biggest gear. On this course, that's not a death sentence just because we're going 30. But when I started feeling like, oh, I'm in the biggest gear and I'm going to have to torque this out, I was like really just concerned with staying up front and like not having to surge out of corners as much as possible. So yeah, my approach here is just going to be as far forward as I possibly can and hope I can just ride the wave into the finish the best I can.
Oh yeah, you're doing 30 and your RPMs are 78. So you're in your biggest you're in your biggest gear. I didn't even realize. Yeah, look at the RPMs in the bottom right. I mean, we're over 30, and then it gets a little bit comfortable. But anything that gets down to like 27 miles an hour, you are grinding at like 68 RPM, something like that. Not ideal. In crits, you want to be closer to 95, 100.
Yeah, usually I'd be pegging it at 100 the whole last few laps, and so this does not feel super comfortable as a selected cadence.
This is especially important in crit racing because what a higher RPM allows you to do is accelerate more easily and more readily. And as we all know, crit racing is full. That was scary. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. Crit racing is full of tiny little accelerations all the time, and you don't want to be bogged down at 65, 70 RPMs and have to respond to little gaps and things like that. So a little bit less than ideal, Will, but you're still fighting and maintaining here, man. It's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. I felt really good, actually. Like, I could kind of float up front, and I was on some wheels that I trusted. The Skyline guys are going to protect themselves. Legion's right in front of me, so they're protecting themselves pretty well. I just got to hope for as few of the waves like this automatic rider coming over the top, just as few of those as I possibly can, and ride the ones that I can hop on, So, yeah, stuff like that where you just get, taken out of the equation. Now I've got to work my way back up with, 1,700 meters to go.
Dude, you are going so good right now. I can't believe it. Look at the power and the heart rate, guys. You know what it was? It was that California training camp that we did.
It was that training camp.
That's what I'm telling
you,
man. You got to come back. So still fighting up in good position here. We're hitting. This is one lap to go. Yeah.
Yeah. And the problem with the last few laps is, like, I am moving up on straightaways, like right before corners and not necessarily in corners. So I'm having to burn energy when I move up during this last lap. So you'll see on the right, like, I'm just hoping it's going to open up. I'm on Gomez's wheel, and this dude knows how to ride a crit really well. So he's going to look for different holes, and I'm hoping I can follow. But luckily the Bikers, they're defending like the inside of the corner here. So you'll see them start to shift left up front, and then it just opens on the outside. So I see that and just like start my sprint essentially like a little early, I think.
Yeah, and I think that's the right move. Like, if I was stuck in my biggest gear, I would probably want to wind things up early too. And by the way, this is not the last lap. These laps go by very quickly. We are coming into the last lap. So you've been shuffled back a little bit. Everyone's fighting for the end of the Bikers, but going early is the move. Tell me what the idea. Outside line, you said?
Yeah, right now I'm kind of stuck on the right side. There's not a big chance for me to like scoot left without, crossing over a bunch of wheels and making a bunch of people grumpy. But I am kind of expecting that Bikers team to defend the last few corners, and how you would do that is you would move to the inside. So I'm expecting that outside to open as everybody else follows them, and you'll see here on the right it does. So I've just got free reign to move up, which costs energy, but I moved up a good few spots and like just kept following that wave and right back on to Brian's wheel here.
And then somebody comes out and like you just get a second of drafting. I love when that happens, but of course it gets blocked on the outside, so that's not ideal. You have lead out guys who are dropping back, who are kind of cluttering things. And now at this point you just have to open it up, right? We're 200 meters to go. That's the last corner. Time to just open it up and see if you can pass a couple more guys before the line.
Yeah. And I mean, I guess my legs were pretty good right here because I'm just kind of like floating through the field. And you can see the post up by bikers who think they've won the race, but sadly there was a solo breakaway rider in Garrison off the front.
Yeah, so first of all, congrats. You took 6th place. Given the circumstances, being stuck in your biggest gear, an amazing result you should be proud of. But maybe, you know, the title of this video is going to be something like Even Pros Make Mistakes, because we saw Cade and Skyline, accidentally chasing each other. And then, of course, bikers taking control of the front, doing a good job with the lead out, but forgetting that they had one extra rider off the front. Really important when modulating your speed. So I want to thank again Insta360 for sponsoring this video with their new X5. Link in the description will get you a free lens replacement kit. You don't have to worry about a piece of gravel destroying your expensive 360 camera anymore. Thanks again for coming on, Will. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next one.